Hello, this is Abhilas, and this is my assignment for games architecture and concurrency. So, I have two files running in here, one for server, one for client. And how you start is in here when I create an object in the main file, I pass true for the server, then I pass false for the client. And the colors are defined here as well, player 1 yellow, player 2 blue. So, once I connect the client, it works in here, and like you can see, if I draw something, it gets rendered in here. And the player count is 2, player count is 1 in here, so that demonstrates the joining and leaving part works properly. So just to demonstrate, if I close something in here, the player count is reduced to 1, so the leaving and joining part is working as it's expected. Talking about the canvas, it's drawn in a for loop with a number of voxels meaning 3D cubes, which have the translation, position, scaling stored, and the vertices are passed to the graphics buffer. To demonstrate it's a 3D buffer, sorry, it demonstrates a 3D canvas or a 3D cube. If I press T, it goes in a different camera view, which demonstrates that yeah, you done the 3D part. So by pressing G, I come back again to the normal screen. So I'll do it again. So yeah, and all my IP addresses that I get to connect to the server is taken through a config file which is there in the project. So that's how I get the IP and the port number from my server. Then I connect the applications. And for camera, WASD, simple features. Uh, as I said, there's a switching camera feature as well. So R reset, the controls are there. And talking about integrity check, if I draw something in here, it gets properly rendered. And what I simply do is I set the mask of the player in the graphics pipeline, so all the logic of the code is taken care in the setup file, so I don't have to write a logic for if the mask is this, then do that, then change the color as red or blue when the integrity check starts. They all are taken care in the setup file. What I just do is update my mask and pass it to my graphics pipeline, and that is how it works. I don't have to do anything in the game manager. So my integrity checks works well. Only the difference is it's done using JSON serialization. So when I start integrity check, I get the opponent's mass, the total mass, with a structure of data where it has the mass ID and the cube. So I compare the ID, then I add player 1's mass with player's 2 mass, then there I check for integrity check errors or something. So right now, if I start integrity check, this one blue cube here, which is blue, is because the current mass is 1659 here, and it's 1540 where it should have been 1541, and that's why that I have a blue cube here, because while drawing I think I have missed one cube while recasting. So that demonstrates that the system is working properly. I While drawing I missed a cube, so that's why the blue cube is here. And when done thoroughly and slowly, sometimes in most cases the integrity check works properly, but if I draw it really fastly, that error comes as expected. But the system works well. I'm really happy with the output, I guess, because the more I draw smoothly and the more I draw with network communication, it works really well. I'll just try it again. Now it's all gray, it's working properly, and the error that you see here is mostly because my the JSON library that I've been using has some uh, weird functionality, so I'm not closing the document properly. That's why I'm getting some serialization error, but expect that. My code, my logic, everything works well. And talking about the project architecture, everything is done using observer pattern. So my input manager broadcast all the messages to my camera manager, to my network manager, to my game manager. So they all are modular and the code can be reusable in future as well. And talking about the architecture, the engine and the game part is totally different. You don't have to be dependent on each other. That's a really good step as a programmer, and it maintains that fluidity, that modularity throughout the project. So, and for coming about threading, so when I run the application, like mentioned in the assignment, graphics part is done in core 1 and the networking part is done in core 2. So when I run the application, the thread manager add tasks in the system, and when server runs, it waits for communication or it receives communication in the second core, whereas all my graphics pipeline, the game manager, input manager, raycasting, all the other works is done in the second processor, which is the sorry, it's done in the first processor, which is the graphics part. All the networking, sending data, receiving data, they're all done in the first, in the second core. Sorry, in the second core. First one is for graphics. That's how my threading and my distributed architecture concurrency is handled. And like mentioned in the document, most of the things are there. I just didn't do the frequency part. So I'm just rendering the data here, it's not updated. The frequency part is not touched, but instead of that, everything else is taken care of in the assignment. And yeah, it works, and that's the error, but yeah, it works mostly. So that's it for my demonstration. Thank you.